You know, I kind of knew the MAC was what it is. It's a really good football conference. I had a couple people tell me that our game and the Toledo game were especially our game, were better to watch than some of the BCS games that have occurred on Thursday night. It was a better football game. So I knew the MAC was a really good conference. There's really good coaches in the MAC. There's really good football in the MAC. It's a tough conference, and I love it. I've been in all of them now, so I can tell you that I don't see much difference between, the MAC and a couple other conferences. I think they're probably pretty close. When you take us in the MAC and then the non-conference schedule that we play, as opposed to maybe a BCS conference that plays a week non-conference schedule, and I'm not sure who's got it harder week in and week out, to be quite honest with you. I mean, Ohio, Toledo, those teams, they're as good as those other teams.
Well, why is some of these people who are, quote, supposed to be the experts, do not put you up there with where you think the conference really is?
I don't know. I can't answer that question. They're self-proclaimed experts. I know what I see. I've coached in them. I watch the film. I'm involved in it day to day. Some of those guys I hear talking, I don't know what they're an expert on. Maybe entertainment. I'm just, I can tell you what I see, and I would say that a lot of coaches that, being honest with you, would echo it. They'd echo it. They'd tell you the truth.
Then what would you say is the biggest difference? Is it depth?
You talking about the SEC compared, or are you talking?
Just any other the SEC.
You got some up here, and then you got some over here. Depth. A little bit of depth. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You take a BCS conference right now. I'm not going to name names, but their top ends might be a little better than our top ends. You cut the top end off and you put them all in there, shake them up in a bag, and you know what I mean? It has a lot to do with your schedule. We play a tough non-conference schedule. Okay. We're having a different conversation now, but week in and week out, when you're in it week in and week out, I'm not here. Temple and Toledo are 5-4 right now. Temple and Toledo have been through the grind now. You understand? Okay, those are two good football teams. That's what people never weigh in. Like some of these teams that are pop-up teams, they never weigh in what would they do if they had to do it week in and week out. What would it be then? And that's what you gotta try to figure out in there. You know what I mean? I always look at sometimes teams that what their schedule is, what their non-conference schedule is. If you can take 4 gimme wins in a schedule, and you're playing 6 games, and then you look at those 6, that's a different animal. The grind of week to week is rough duty. So in the MAC, which there's great parity in the MAC right now there is. You're in it every week, and then you go play those games like Toledo and we did. It's not easy. We love it. It's what it is, So I don't have everyone's schedule card in front of me right now, but there are some of those conferences that are playing those 4 games that aren't real overly challenging, So they got it down to this many games they got to play, So I would say a little bit of depth, especially on the lines. That's where you usually see it. It's hard to get linemen. It was hard at the other place I was at to get linemen. There's just not that many, so it's all relative then, right? So I would say that, that'd be it, And then how many quarterbacks in the conference are, it's another position that, everyone's at the quarterback position is hard.
Insofar as there is great parity in the MAC, especially in the East, there's a lot of teams up near the top of the board vying for the MAC's bid to go to the MAC title game. Are you aware of the scenarios, or will you make yourself aware of the scenarios that could still see your team on the way to Detroit, or would you rather just put your head down and you'll know when you need to know?
That's a good question. A couple people have approached me with that, to tell me that, but my mindset on it, I just don't want to play that game for me, I knew that Wednesday night was a conference championship caliber game, and now my mindset is so focused on every win's a must-win, and all I really want to talk about is our game this week, because that's what it's down to right now. You know what I mean? I don't want to get occupied with all that. There's nothing that's out of my control. What's in our control right now is to have our football team as prepared as we can possibly have them for Wednesday night. And that's really got to be the mindset of our whole program right now. So yes, some people have come up to me and said it to me. I don't think I could regurgitate it back to you properly. And it's not on my mind. It's just not on my mind. And I really want us to be as absolutely the best team we can be. I want to see great growth here down the home stretch. I want our senior class to have a chance to go out to be the winningest senior class in the history of Temple football. I want that to happen. I want that to happen. And they got a chance to do that. There's some great things that our senior class can accomplish that are all attainable, and I want them to do that. But none of it is going to happen unless we go out and take care of business and win. Okay? And I'd love nothing more than some validation for what they're doing right now, because honestly, they deserve it. They deserve it. But it can be a harsh game sometimes. It just reminds you how fine a line there is. Margin for error is very small. And when people, let me say something. When we play now, we get everybody's best shot now. There was probably, not that long ago where it was just, Temple is Temple and you're playing Temple. When people play Temple now, Ohio had Temple as their bullseye game the whole year. We know people that were in their weight room that it was all about Temple. Temple is everybody's big game now. And I've been a part of that before at a couple places where you're everybody's big game. And you got to learn how to handle that too. There's a lot difference being a team that plays just another team, and then now you got to learn how to be a team to play where you're everybody's big game. We're everybody's big game now. And there's something to that. You got to learn. You got to learn how to handle that. You got to be A game every week, because you're going to get everybody's A game.
Is that something you tell your guys? That
Yes.
teams are-
Because that's real. That's what's going on right now. It's a whole new, everyone wants to talk about this year, that year, every other year. This is the first year right now where and it's because of a lot of hard work that a lot of people have done around here, okay, before I got here. And I think what we've done since we've been here as well. And I think that, that's what we wanted, and that's where we are. And there's a learning curve there. There's a learning curve there, and how to handle that. And that's why I tried to say to you guys, I thought Wednesday night we took a step forward on that curve, but we just didn't. I equated it yesterday, pushing that rock right up the hill, right? And it didn't roll back on us, but we didn't get it over the top. And we got to get it over the top. And that's our goal right now. Get that rock over the top. Don't let it roll back. Probably talked too much. We good?
We're back with the player.